I sat at a mahogany conference table, surrounded by 12 relatives I barely recognized anymore. My older sister leaned back in her chair, fingers laced, confident, smug. The lawyer finished reading Dad's will. The family estate? Hers. The commercial real estate business he'd built over 40 years? Hers. Investment accounts, vintage car collection, everything? Hers. My name appeared exactly once. Quote, has chosen a path outside this family's values. My sister leaned close and whispered, face it, you get nothing. Dad knew you'd just waste it. I stared at the grain in the table and said nothing. Ever been erased from your own family's legacy while a room full of people watched? It burns in a way I can't describe. But here's the thing. I had 6 pages in my bag that would rewrite this entire room. The lawyer cleared his throat and reached for a second folder. He said, before we adjourn, there's one more instrument to review. The room went silent. Where are you watching from and what time is it there? Drop a comment. And if this one already stings, go ahead and hit that like button, because this story is just getting started. Let me take you back. I was the younger kid who chose art school over law. My sister went to business school, joined Dad's firm at 23 and never looked back. I studied design. I worked gallery gigs and freelance projects. Dad stopped returning my calls around year 2. Thanksgiving dinners became silent wars. He'd ask my sister about deals and clients. He'd ask me to pass the salt. When I had my first solo gallery show, I sent him an invitation. He didn't come. My sister got promoted 3 times. Each one came with a family dinner and champagne. I got a birthday card once with his signature, but he never mailed it. I found it in his desk after he died. Mom passed 2 years before Dad. She was the buffer. After she was gone, the coldness became concrete. But here's what nobody knew. When I was 7, Dad taught me to read blueprints in his office. He pointed at a site plan and said, you see things other people miss. I never forgot that. And I kept everything. Every voicemail, every birthday card he signed but didn't send, every scrap of paper with his handwriting. I saved it all in a shoebox and on a thumb drive, even when it hurt to look at. I had no idea those scraps would become my ammunition. But 6 months after Dad's funeral, sitting in that conference room, I was about to find out. Back in that conference room, the lawyer closed the primary will. My sister's attorney nodded. A cousin got the keys to Dad's vintage Mustang. My uncle folded his hands, satisfied. Then my sister slid a check across the table. $10,000. She said, this is generous for someone who contributed nothing. Take it and go quietly. I looked at the check. My throat tightened. My uncle leaned forward. Your father told me you were a disappointment. He wanted you to have something, but not much. Take the money. I didn't touch it. My sister's voice turned sharp. Don't embarrass us by contesting. You'll lose. We have 3 attorneys on retainer, and you can't even afford rent. She wasn't wrong about my bank account. I'd been freelancing for 8 years. My lease was up in 2 months. The room was watching me. I felt shame flood my chest, hot and heavy. But then I remembered something. The last time I saw Dad in the hospital, 2 weeks before he died, he was barely awake. I leaned close. He whispered, read everything twice. I thought he was confused, medicated. But now, staring at that $10,000 severance, I wondered. My sister tapped the check. 24 hours. Then we retitle everything and you lose your chance. I stood up. I didn't take the check. I walked out. I sat in my car for 20 minutes, hands on the wheel, unable to turn the key. My phone buzzed. A text from a friend. Maybe he meant it. Maybe it's time to let go. Another buzz. An email from a paralegal at my sister's firm. Subject line, final settlement notice. It had a PDF attached, a liability waiver, a signature line. The email said, contesting the will incurs legal fees you cannot afford. Accept the settlement by noon tomorrow. I drove home in silence. That night I couldn't sleep. I scrolled through old photos on my phone. Dad holding my design portfolio at graduation. a faint smile on his face. I zoomed in on his expression. Was it pride, regret? I didn't know anymore. My mentor called. I let it go to voicemail. He left a message. Sometimes love and inheritance aren't the same thing. Grieve it and move on. I wanted to believe him. Maybe I was the failure Dad never wanted to name out loud. Maybe the $10,000 was mercy. But then I remembered something else. 2 years ago, when Mom's estate needed settling, Dad made me the executor. Not my sister, me. He trusted me with paperwork once. Why? I opened my filing cabinet at 2 in the morning, and I started reading. Inside a manila folder labeled Mom's Estate, Final, I found a letter. Handwritten. Dad's fountain pen. The slant I'd know anywhere. It was dated 3 months before he died. It started, "If you're reading this, the primary will has been read." My hands shook. Don't sign anything. There is a second trust instrument filed with Alcott and Frame on March 12th. You are the sole beneficiary. I'm proud of who you became. I read it 4 times. He didn't forget me. He hid something for me. I opened my laptop and searched my email for Alcott and Frame. 1 result. Sender Dad's personal email. Date, March 12th. Subject document filing confirmation. I opened it. It was a receipt. Trust instrument filing. Grantor, my father's name. Beneficiary, my name. Filed March 12th, 4 months before he died. I sat back. My sister had no idea this existed. Or maybe she did. Maybe that's why the pressure. The 24-hour deadline. The threats. I didn't know what the trust contained yet. But I knew one thing. Dad had built a second path. One she couldn't see. And I had 11 hours to find out what it was. I grabbed my keys and drove to the address on the receipt. Before I could leave, my phone rang. My sister, I let it ring. She left a voicemail. I played it. I saw you didn't sign the settlement. Let me be clear. If you make this difficult, I will file a competency petition. I have 3 cousins ready to sign affidavits saying you're emotionally unstable. Don't test me. Her voice was ice. I heard her keyboard clicking in the background. 30 seconds later, the family group text lit up. I was still in it. My sister had written, "Sad to share that my name is struggling emotionally after Dad's loss. We're trying to help, but please respect our privacy during this time. Public humiliation. Preemptive narrative." My aunt called 2 minutes later. Her voice was gentle. "Sweetheart, we're worried about you. Just sign the paper and let us take care of everything. You don't need this stress." It was gaslighting wrapped in concern. Another email arrived. From my sister's lawyer. Failure to execute settlement by noon will result in immediate retitling of all estate assets. You will be permanently foreclosed from any claim. Then a text from my sister herself. I've already contacted your landlord and your employer. I told them you're dealing with a health crisis. I'm trying to protect you. Don't make me do more. I had 11 hours. She was trying to bury me before I could even move. I called Alcott and Frame and asked for an emergency appointment. They said, "We can see you at 8 a.m. I said, "I'll be there." At 8 a.m., I sat across from a senior partner at Alcott and Frame. He pulled a sealed envelope from a locked file cabinet. He broke the seal and slid the document toward me. 12 pages, notarized, witnessed by 2 people I didn't recognize. The title read, Revocable Living Trust. He walked me through it line by line. The trust gave me 100% ownership of the original family estate, the historic home and the 22 acres it sat on, plus a funding account, $2 million, designated for creative preservation and community use. I stared at the numbers. The lawyer said, "Your father called this his values trust. He wanted the estate preserved by someone who wouldn't develop it for profit." I looked up. "What about the business? The other assets?" He said, "The will your sister read governs those. The business, the investment accounts, the cars, those went to her. Your father split the legacy intentionally." I felt my chest tighten. "Does she know?" He paused. She requested a full asset list from us 4 months ago. We declined to provide trust details without your consent, but I suspect she knows something exists. That's why the panic. The deadline. The competency threat. She needed me gone and silent before this came to light. I had 4 hours left. I asked the lawyer one question. Can she undo this? The lawyer hesitated. Then he pulled a third folder from his desk. He said, I'm showing you this because it's a matter of public record now. Inside was a loan application. My sister's name, 5 months old. $3 million. Business expansion, high risk. Collateral listed the family estate. My family estate. I looked up at him. She pledged property she didn't own? He nodded. Your father co-signed under significant pressure. We have the email chain. 2 weeks later, he executed this trust to protect the estate from her financial exposure. He slid me a printed email. Dad's words, I cannot let her leverage our history for venture debt. She's brilliant but reckless. My name understands stewardship. I felt a strange mix of heartbreak and clarity. She wasn't just greedy, she was cornered. If I claimed the estate, her loan would default. The bank would come after her. Her business would collapse. She needed me to take the $10,000 and disappear so she could keep the collateral illusion alive. The lawyer said, the bank doesn't know yet, but they will once the trust is recorded publicly. I folded the email and put it in my pocket. I looked at the clock. 3 hours and 40 minutes until her deadline. I said, I know exactly what to do. And for the first time in 6 months, I felt calm. I told the lawyer my plan. File a formal notice of trust with the county recorder. Today, send copies to my sister's attorney, the bank holding her loan, and every beneficiary on the will. He nodded. That's transparent, clean. I said, I'm not hiding anything. I'm just honoring what Dad built. Then I did something I'd been avoiding. I opened my phone and recorded a video. I kept my voice steady. Hi, everyone. I know today has been confusing. I've just learned that Dad created a second instrument, a separate trust, that he filed 4 months before he passed. It provides for me independently. I won't be contesting the will. I will be honoring the trust. Let's meet tomorrow at noon. Same office with all counsel present, so everyone understands what Dad intended. I posted it to the family group chat. Read receipts popped up immediately. My sister, my uncle, 2 cousins. I turned off my phone. The lawyer said, I'll have the notice filed within the hour. I signed the instructions. My hand was steady. No lawsuits. No threats. Just transparency and legal process. I walked out of that office and sat in my car. I didn't feel angry. I didn't feel victorious. I felt something quieter. I felt seen. Dad had seen me. And he'd left proof. I didn't sleep that night. But I didn't need to. I'd already won. Noon the next day. Same conference room. Same mahogany table. My sister arrived with her attorney and 2 cousins. She wouldn't look at me. I sat down next to the partner from Alcott and Frame. The room was silent. He opened his laptop and projected the trust document on the screen behind him. Page 1. Title, signatures, dates. He said, This is a revocable living trust executed by Dad's name on March 12th. It was filed, notarized, and witnessed according to state law. It governs the disposition of specific real property separate from the will. My sister's lawyer leaned forward. This contradicts the will's clear intent. The partner cut him off. No, the will governs business assets, liquid accounts, and personal property. The trust, filed separately and 4 months prior to death, governs the family estate and its associated preservation fund. Both instruments are valid. They do not conflict. My cousin spoke up. So who actually owns the estate? The partner looked at me. The sole beneficiary. My name. My sister's face drained of color. Her lawyer whispered something to her. Her hand started shaking. My uncle tried to argue. This doesn't make sense. He wouldn't. I spoke for the first time. My voice was calm. Dad gave you the business and sister's name. He gave me the home. He wanted us both to have something. But he wanted the estate protected. Her voice cracked. You don't understand. I have a loan. The estate is collateral. If you take it, I default. The bank will come after me. I'll lose everything. I looked at her. I know. The estate was collateral you didn't own. That's between you and your bank now. Silence. The partner from Alcott and Frame slid the recorded deed across the table. He handed me a passbook for the $2 million fund. He said, the estate is yours. Effective immediately. I stood up. I took the deed. I looked around the room one last time. Then I walked out. I didn't wait for a response. I didn't need one. My sister's business survived. Barely. She restructured the loan using other commercial properties and took on 2 new investors. She kept the firm, but she lost the estate. And she lost the moral high ground. 2 of my cousins reached out privately and apologized. My uncle went silent. I didn't gloat. I didn't post on social media. I didn't talk to anyone outside the family. I moved into the estate 3 weeks later. The first thing I did was hire a preservation architect. We converted the guest wing into a subsidized creative residency program. Painters, writers, sculptors, designers, people like me who'd been told they were failures. The $2 million fund covered operations, scholarships, and building updates. We named it after my parents. 6 months later, we held our first resident showcase in the garden. A young sculptor unveiled a piece made from reclaimed steel and glass. I stood in the same spot where Dad once taught me to read blueprints. I felt him there. My phone buzzed. A text from my sister. It said, "You were right. He knew us both." I didn't reply. But I saved the message. A week later, her firm nearly lost a major contract when a vendor went bankrupt. I quietly funded a small emergency grant through the foundation. No announcement. No strings. Just a wire transfer and a one-line note for the employees. She never acknowledged it. But the vendor survived. So did her staff. I didn't do it for her. I did it because Dad's letter said I understood stewardship. And stewardship isn't about revenge. It's about protecting what matters, even when it's complicated. I framed his handwritten letter and hung it in the estate library. Every resident who comes through sees it. Some ask about it. I tell them the story. Not the legal part. Not the drama. Just the part about being seen. Because here's the truth. Inheritance isn't about money. It's about trust. And the people who truly see you will find a way to say so, even after they're gone. So let me ask you something. Have you ever been underestimated by the people who were supposed to believe in you? Have you ever been called a failure by someone who didn't understand your path? Drop your story in the comments. I read every single one, and if this reminded you to keep your receipts, both the paper kind and the emotional kind, hit that subscribe button. You never know when the fine print will save you. This has been a fictionalized dramatization. For real estate or legal questions, always consult licensed professionals. Thank you for watching. And remember, boundaries aren't walls. They're foundations.